Hello and welcome to this special episode of Focus On, where we put the spotlight on Congo Brazzaville in Central Africa for the maiden edition of the PPP Forum. And this gathering is the government's way of reaching out to the national and international private sector players as they look to foster partnerships to drive growth. I'm Kenneth Igbomo, and I'll bring you the major highlights from this event. The Republic of Congo is the third largest crude oil producer in sub-Saharan Africa after Nigeria and Angola. But the government is looking to diversify its economy away from oil and make other sectors pull their weight as they set a new trajectory for growth and prosperity. All roads lead to Kintele, a town just about 25 kilometers from Brazzaville, the capital of the Republic of Congo, where international and local players in the private sector are keen to know more about the government's plan to create an enabling environment for partnerships that will drive the country's priority sectors that have been identified in the National Development Plan for the next 4 years. In the build-up to this event, the newly formed Ministry of International Cooperation and the Promotion of the Public-Private Partnerships embarked on a roadshow to some major cities to enlighten investors of the opportunities in the Republic of Congo. Congo's Minister of International Cooperation and Promotion of Public-Private Partnerships tells me his vision for the forum.
Je pense que la vision assez éclairée du président de la République.
Through the economic vision of our president, it was concluded that our traditional ways of financing our economy and our projects through our national investment budget or other means like expensive borrowing had shown its limitations. As well, the different economic crises resulted in difficulties to finance our projects. For all those reasons, we are now implementing the private-public partnership model to finance our projects and adding value to our economy.
L'a amené à expérimenter un nouveau mode de financement de projet à travers le partenariat public-privé.
It's good to see this model coming out here, public-private partnerships, and how crucial it is to your economy. I'm trying to understand what informed this approach, because there are many other ways you could have gone about to talk to investors.
Bon, déjà, nous avons depuis un certain nombre de...
For several months already, we have done roadshows in Abu Dhabi, the United Kingdom and Morocco to present the investment opportunities in Congo Brazzaville, the sector with high potential value and growth, and also to present the 6 sectors at the heart of our National Development Plan 2022 until 2026. It is in those sectors that we want to attract FDI. In line with this, we have to present all the reforms we are implementing for the ease of doing business in the Congo. Our priority is to improve the business climate to attract investors towards all our investment opportunities.
Il sera difficile pour les investisseurs de venir investir au Congo, même si derrière, c'est vrai, nous présentons toutes les opportunités d'investissement.
When you spoke to those investors in your roadshow, I'm trying to imagine some other feedback they gave you as to how the kind of environment that they would like to see before these investments can come in. I'd like you to speak to that and what your government is trying to do to give investors the kind of incentives that will make them come to this country and do long-term investments.
La première préoccupation de la majorité.
The first concern of the investors was to know if there was a law that regulates the PPP model. To this concern, we responded that our government is working very thoroughly on a law that will be discussed in the cabinet meeting in the coming days and later to voted on in Parliament. The investors who have a long-term view under the PPP model need a climate that protects their investment. The second concern was more about the business climate in Congo and its attractiveness. Our country is now very busy drafting different reforms to this effect.
Le climat des affaires au Congo était assez propice à la captivité et à l'attractivité des investissements, et c'est ce sur quoi le gouvernement travaille à travers un certain nombre de réformes qu'il va falloir mettre en place. Sinon, le partenariat public-privé ne fonctionnera pas.
As a financial journalist, I like to put numbers to things, and I'd like to know in terms of targets what you are setting in terms of yearly tax? I understand the forum is going to be every 2 years. And I'm trying to understand the percentage of growth you like to see in terms of investment coming into the country from where it currently stands.
Bon, il faut partir d'un postulat.
In line with our National Development Plan 2022 until 2026, the cost is 8,000 billion francs CFA. Out of the 8,000 billion CFA, we expect half of it to be financed by innovative models like the PPP, for example. As you can see, it shows our ambition in terms of reaching our goals through the PPP model.
All right, but looking internally as the government, and I understand, yes, you're working on a framework, and also the laws are also being put in place. And I'd like to also know how else you're holding the hand of investors to come and experience the Congo and see how it is first, so that they can lap in what they're seeing here and then help form a better information, not perceptions, about what it is to invest in your country.
Bien évidemment, parce que si
Of course, it is our job to change the old perception of doing business in the Congo, and this is the reason why we created the PPP ministry. We have to educate the investors through the roadshow. The present forum has the same goal by showing the investors they can invest in our country with safety and get a return on their investment.
Investir dans notre pays, que les financements seront protégés et que bien entendu ils pourront réaliser des affaires tout à fait convenables.
All right, and for the companies that are already investing here, who have already been here for a while, how are you working with them to expand their investments here and even scale up? Because that's actually a low-hanging fruit.
Bon, bien entendu, les partenaires qui sont
Absolutely. We want to keep our present economic partners by giving them a more attractive climate for expanding their investment with extended PPP legal and constitutional guarantees protecting their investment in the long term.
Public-privé, les amener à se sentir confortés et à augmenter leurs investissements. Et bien entendu, nous ouvrons la porte à de potentiels nouveaux investisseurs.
For businesses to take advantage of the opportunities in the country, what is the government doing to create a business climate that is friendly to investors?
Alors, l'Agence pour la promotion des investissements a pour mission.
Our role is first to promote our country's image and investment opportunities. It is also extremely important to take the investors by the hand by giving them the right support and help needed. For example, for all the administrative requirements, we will assist them. We also contribute to changing the business climate by collecting all the complaints or notifications from the investors, and then we transmit these to the government. The goal is to improve the ease of doing business.
Au niveau de la hiérarchie, qui transmet au niveau du comité interministériel pour l'amélioration du climat des affaires. Parce qu'il existe un comité interministériel qui travaille donc sur toutes les questions relatives à l'amélioration du climat des affaires.
How are you now working with companies now and to address some of the issues around the business climate here in the Congo?
En tout cas, le gouvernement encourage les investissements.
The government invites investors to look into the agriculture sector.
Tout le monde sait pourquoi, parce que de toute façon, nous importons beaucoup de denrées alimentaires. Et nous voulons
Since we import so much and we want to reverse the trend, we are looking at consuming what is made in Congo and export as well.
D'entrer en Afrique centrale, nous sommes à 2 minutes de Kinshasa, de la RDC.
Being the gateway to Central Africa, we are 2 minutes away from Kinshasa, near Gabon and Cameroon. Agriculture is a real priority for our country.
Pour pouvoir éventuellement exporter donc dans le marché
It will allow us to also export in the sub-region.
Il y a des parcs nationaux au Congo. Nous avons 4 parcs nationaux.
Tourism is also a key priority. We have 4 national parks where we could build hotels, lodges, restaurants, etc.
Nous avons l'industrie, nous avons l'immobilier, nous avons les zones économiques spéciales.
We also have 4 special economic zones with special tax incentives for investors. For example, if you are a developer in one of the special economic zones, you get 15 years of tax exemption. Otherwise, you have a minimum of 10 years of tax exemptions.
Si vous vous installez juste pour exercer votre activité, vous avez 10 ans sans payer.
I forgot to mention earlier that within the agriculture sector, there is a full tax exemption for unlimited years, whether in the agro industry, fishing, etc.
L'agriculture est un domaine qui est totalement exonéré. On ne paye pas d'impôts.
Those are real advantages or incentives for the investors. Also taking into consideration that we have a lot of land available as well.
L'agriculture, l'élevage, la pêche, la pisciculture. Quand vous investissez donc dans ce secteur-là, vous ne payez zéro impôt. Vous ne payez pas d'impôt sur les sociétés. Donc voilà des avantages quand même, des incitations qui sont très importantes, qui peuvent inciter effectivement les investisseurs à venir investir au Congo, d'autant plus que nous avons des terres. Nous avons des terres qui sont disponibles, donc disponibles et arables. Donc voilà ce que je pouvais dire.
I would like to go to the area of small businesses because I understand that they are the engine of growth, and I would like to know the work that you're doing with them because I know that small businesses have the potential to become these big businesses that we're looking at today, and I'd like to know the work you're doing with small businesses.
En fait, les entreprises.
Most of our economy is composed of SMEs or small companies. The government is also helping those companies to invest. In our 2021 finance law, those companies have tax incentives, 2 years without paying taxes after incorporation. The government has created a fund for support and incentives called FIGA that guarantees the investments financing. FIGA has signed several agreements with the banks. For example, if you bring a viable project, you will get the financing from the bank guaranteed by the FIGA.
Donc, si vous avez un projet, vous allez devant le FIGA. Et si le projet est viable, à ce moment-là, le FIGA qui a signé une convention avec les banques, vous pouvez obtenir un prêt auprès de la banque et le FIGA garantit donc ce prêt. Donc, voilà ce qui est fait pour encourager donc la croissance des petites et moyennes entreprises.
One of the highlights of the forum was the memorandum of understanding signed between the government of Congo and Arise Integrated Industrial Platforms for 2 special economic zones in Pointe Noire and Ouesso.
We are Group Arise. We are mainly in industrial park development. So in Pan-Africa, what we are doing, we are finding the opportunity. We are financing, we are building, and we are operating the zone economy special. If I give the example of Gabon, Togo, Benin, so there is a really successful models which we already built. And we today also signed a MOU with the Congo, Republic of Congo, where we are going to build 2 special economic zones. One is in Pointe Noire with mineral port, and one is in Ouesso. So our group is mainly, as I said, we are in infrastructure development, where we can find the opportunity to transform the local raw material and to give the employment to the local people in the country.
Let's get into that deal that was just signed, and I'm trying to get in more context, you know, what informed the deal and how what to expect going forward.
The MOU we signed today, that is for 2 special economic zones. One is in Pointe Noire with mineral port, and another is in Ouesso. So what happened? Government has finalized these both special economic zone land since many years. And right now we are doing a feasibility study, and in 3 months' time we will take up the project. So mainly what happened, Congo Brazzaville and has a lot of timber resource where which are exported today to out of the country. What we are planning that we are going to build a special economic zone mainly for the timber processing and other activity where we can transform the raw material and we can bring the value to the country, and we can also generate the employment for the country. Yes. So that is a real motive for this MOU. And apart from that, if you see the value of the Congo Basin timbers is I can say tropical timbers, there is a high value material. if you transform these types of goods in the country, you can bring real value to the country.
It's good to see that you already have models already working in other countries and you're trying to bring them here. But I'm keen to know how first all these conversations started to be. Was it that the government that approached your organization, or you approached the government with the opportunity that you're seeing?
Actually, is both way. We are also searching opportunity in various raw material transformation and development of special economic zone. So we both approach each other, and we went together to find the way how we can work out. And definitely after a long discussion, we came on MOU stage. We are very hopeful that in 3 months time we will finish all the studies and we are launch our project before the end of this year.
Moving on now, I'm trying to understand what the next steps are. Yes, you're going to launch the project. So when can companies that want to take advantage of opportunities in that special economic zone begin to participate?
Actually, if I say timber processing, we have a huge client base who are already working with us in Gabon and other countries. So our clients are ready to join us in Congo. So client base is not a problem for us. What we will do, immediately now we are starting first master planning and then construction of the zone. And as per our expertise, we can fulfill this project requirement as soon as possible. And our client base is already ready, so we can bring them and we can locate them in Congo Brazzaville. So selling of the project is not a problem for us, because as I said, we have a very good success story in Gabon, where we can replicate the same model in Congo.
Another area for the government of Congo is industrial development, and the General Secretary for the Congolese Federation of Mines, Florent Lager, speaks to me about the opportunity in that space.
As I'm the head of the Federation of Mines, in the mining sector, I think is one of the best example of what is a PPP. Because a lot of people don't understand what mines is a PPP. You are a private sector investing in mines, but you need partner with the state, and all together we are building a mines. To develop a mines, what do you need? You need, of course, some resources, some study to identify the resources of iron ore, of copper, of cobalt, or everything. But to transport and export these mines, you need infrastructure. You need transport infrastructure, you need port infrastructure, and in order that all those infrastructure works together, you need power. So in mines, we are really concerned by PPPs, and all this infrastructure will be built through a certain form of PPPs. PPP is a generic term of public-private partnership. But to develop this infrastructure, there is a lot of sort of PPPs. You can have BOT, build, operate, transfer. You can have concession. You can have delegation service public. You can have all those forms. And we were here today to talk about the mining sector and how this mining sector will be developed through the building of the infrastructure with the help of the state. And we have the feeling today that, yes, there is a vision from the government to develop this infrastructure and to develop those PPPs in Congo.
When you look at capital from investors and what they're trying to attract, because yes, to scale up a lot of these projects like you rightly mentioned, a lot of capital is involved. And then I'm trying to imagine or understand what sort of incentives miners that you speak to on the regular would like to hear from the side of the government in terms of the incentives that they're going to provide for miners to make them have that comparative advantage if they choose to invest here in Congo Brazzaville.
First of all, the first incentive that the government put in place in Congo is a mining code in 2005. Because when you look at the effect of this new mining code in 2005, just 1 year after this mining code has been enacted, a lot of miners arrive and request some exploration licenses in Congo. Before this code, you need to understand that in Congo, last mine exploitation was in the 80s. So the last between 1980 to 2005, so more than 25 years, there was no mines. And just because they enact a new mining code, that's mining sector start again in Congo, all right? And after that, we negotiate some mine operating agreements, which are very strong in Congo, because those mine operating agreements have been negotiated for 1 year. They have been ratified by the parliament and published as a law. So it's very, very incentive for the private sector to have this legal framework which is really favorable to the investor. Now, what happens? Once this mine operating agreement has been signed in 2004, we experienced really bad luck in terms of the price of commodities. You know, price of the commodities dropped a lot in 2015, which delay the start of this mining. After, when price began to recover in 2019, in 2020 we have been hit by COVID-19 crisis, and now commodity price are still high, and now we have a really good window of opportunity to develop our mines. And we have also the feeling that the approach from the state on the mines changed. Now they are really focused on this question of infrastructure, this question of PPPs, and this conference today is a proof that the state is pushing to find solution for infrastructure. But we need to find solution all together. Miners can put some money, the states can help us to develop this infrastructure, because we need the states to access to the land, we need the states to have a strategy and vision of those infrastructure, and it's what we expect in the coming months is continue the discussion like today in a more detailed approach in order to develop all those infrastructure requests for the mining sector.
Because talking about that, having that continuous conversation, that feedback loop between government and the private sector, and how to make changes happen at the pace that they need. What is the feedback you're getting from your members of your federation?
Yeah, the dialogue between the private sector and the Minister of Mines was always good, right? Since I'm based in Congo since 12 years. So since 12 years, we have regular meeting with the Minister of Mines, and the most difficult things was that there was many ministers implicated in the development of the infrastructure. You have Minister of Energy, you have Minister of Big Works, you have Minister of Merchant Marine, you have a lot of ministers. And now, the government of Congo created a new minister a few months ago, dedicated to this public-private partnership and to the international cooperation. So for us as investor, it's a good signal that the state of Congo is taking seriously the issue and the approach of this infrastructure, and the fact that we need to have maybe a more common approach and a more simple approach to develop those infrastructure altogether.
No doubt the country is rich with resources from left, right, and center. Yes. But when you look at the business climate and you hear the conversations ongoing here about what the government is trying to do, talking about drafting new laws, building new frameworks, how would you like to be carried along in that process to, so that at the end of it all, it will be a win-win for the government and it will be a win-win for your members who are also miners in this country?
The climate here is improved in a more favorable way every year. All right. Specificity of the mining sector is a new sector. So the government and investor will learn together how to develop these sectors. We have to put in place a lot of new regulation. For example, when we start mines in Congo, there was no collective bargaining dedicated to the mines. It's the Federation of Mines and the state, particularly the Minister of Mines, which work together to enact a new collective bargaining in 2012. And there is lots of legislation that needs to be improved in order to develop the mine. We have for example, we have some discussion about social and environmental license, because you have a regulation dedicated to this SEIA, what we call the SEIA, so Social and Environmental Impact Study. Right? This regulation was enacted in 1999, but it was not specific to mines at this time. And so we have to adapt this legislation. The timeline, for example, for the environmental license has been improved from 1 year to 25 years in order to be in line with the time for the license, the mining license. And there is a lot of things that we improve year after year here all together with the government.
All right, now, but as the government now communicating its priorities, telling investors, going on road shows, picking up this new form of activity, How much of an impact do you expect out of this process?
Well, we expect that there is more and more investment coming in Congo. There is a really huge potential in this country. This country is mostly famous for the oil sector, but there is plenty of sector which can be developed in Congo. Mines, power, you have a lot of hydropower potential. We have, for example, 600 megawatts of production now of power, but the potential is 3,000 megawatts. And everything is like that in Congo. We have some few investors come in the past, but we expect that more and more investors comes all together in order to develop all the different sectors, industry, mines, power, forests, and the potential of this country is huge. And it needs to be sustained, and the communication and the approach that the government have adopted recently is very positive for us. Because more time we talk positively about Congo, more time we communicate about the potential, more by the end we have more chance to have more investor, and investor in a country is good. It's always good.
Investors in the transport space also had quite a lot of feedback for the government on how to move the needle for development.
D'abord, c'est une bonne initiative d'avoir organisé.
First of all, this forum is a great initiative as it underlines all the business opportunities to pursue in the Congo. It was very important, and I was happy to see that the forum started with an ease of doing business in Congo workshop for public-private partnership development. And this was following by sessions on energy, wood, water, and about transport. It's a great place to bring together investors to discuss development and present African business opportunities to the world.
Du développement africain et de la place que prend le continent maintenant dans le monde des affaires.
It's good to see that a company like yours that's already doing business with the government here. And I would like to know what that experience has been like and speak more about what we're hearing from that terminal.
Ce qu'il faut savoir quand on travaille dans
What we need to know when we work in a public-private partnership, that is a long-term investment, and the investments are big. We are talking about a 400 million euro investment in the Congo terminal project. In order to atomize this type of investment, contracts run for 20 to 30 years or longer. It is then so important for the duration of this agreement, the partnership we have with the state is reliable and stable, so that the conditions of the agreement will not change over time. It is very important that during the length of the agreement, we need to do a lot of briefings and updates in order to make it evolve with time as the world changes, and the strategy may change as well, influencing then the investment that needs to be made.
But for other potential investors that are looking to come into this country, as someone who has experienced a business relationship with the government here, what is your advice to them?
J'ai pas des conseils. Enfin, les points positifs de ce pays, c'est quoi? C'est un gouvernement.
I don't have specific advice. A positive is that the Congo and its government have had a social peace for more than 20 years.
Les difficultés que la BEAC rencontre avec toute la partie
There are some issues regarding dividend remittance, as well as banking solutions. These areas need to be further developed.
Bancaires sont assez faibles, et ça, c'est quand même quelque chose qu'on doit développer et qu'on doit inciter.
As with all relationships, communication is important. And it's good to see that you already started that journey already with the government here. But as a feedback mechanism, what would you like in terms of incentive to make your work here even better?
Le gouvernement, tout ce qu'on a pu faire avec le gouvernement a été assez facile à
It has been very easy to communicate and work with the government. We have our main agreement. First is the Congo terminal in Pont-Neuf that we started in 2007 with our tender, and in 2009 with its commissioning. It was great to see that the president has a great vision about the ports for his country, and this was essential. Our relationship with the government is excellent. We are continuing to invest. We are also discussing a second agreement for the Brazzaville port. It is not very complicated. What is important is that everyone has the same strategy and vision.
Il faut que tout le monde soit sur la même vision et la même stratégie.
We are here in Congo for this forum mainly to look at opportunities in the air transport space. As you know, Aviation is a Gabonese company that serves the Central African region. We are also the leading carrier in the Central African region. We fly to Brazzaville, Pointe-Noire, Douala, Yawanda, Sao Tome, and now Cotonou in Benin. It is an opportunity to market and anchor our operation in Congo Brazzaville. This is why I am here at the forum.
As someone who plays in that aviation space and you're looking to partner with the government, what sort of incentives would you like to hear from the government?
Regarding the ease of doing business, less tax, reduced fuel jet price, we are looking to take our customers from A to B within the CEMAC sub-region, the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, right around Central Africa. That is our mission.
Well, when you look at the economy here and the potential it has, especially for the aviation sector, what do you see?
Il est en progression.
There is a growing potential for the aviation sector. We are just out of a 2-year crisis when all flights were suspended, and now we see people are beginning to travel again, step by step, and we hope that by June, July, we will be back at the levels we had before the pandemic started.
As Aviation, playing on the continent, looking at your expansion plans and how that will unfold. Let's look more around the Central African market, beyond Congo Brazzaville, and how you like to see that footprint play out.
Of course, we are starting now in West Africa with Cotonou, and also afterwards more countries, perhaps South Africa. Why not?
The challenges across industries remain, while some sectors are trickier to navigate than others. But the meeting of minds in a forum like this is necessary to find workable solutions to drive investment.
We are actually very surprised and grateful for this event today because we did not expect the event to be that big and attract so many people, so many investors from Congo and across the globe that came for the event. I think it's very exciting because it shows the engagement of the government to push the private sector to develop this project. So I'm very excited as a business, as a developer, I'm very excited actually.
Yes, it's one thing to have a plan. The next part comes to is the implementation phase and how the government is going to put this together and walk the talk, as they say. For you though, as someone who has invested here already in this country, you are from this country, you've invested here and you're investing across sectors. What is the potential you see that the rest of the world is not seeing for investors who want to come here and be a part of this development story?
I mean, Congo we have so many opportunities. I mean, the country offers opportunities all sectors. I mean, we just left a panel about tourism, but also when you look at energy, you look at agriculture, mining, there's opportunities everywhere. We're in very early stage development, I would say. Some people probably not agree with me, but I think that we have so much potential, and it all depends on how the government puts the rules to attract the companies and the equity. Because today the big challenge is for example, I'll give you an example in the energy sector, which we are here for. I mean, I'm very interested to invest in the energy sector, but the big challenge is the regulations. It's supposed to be deregulated, but we have a national company that is running the distribution of the electricity, part of the production, actually a minority of the production, but dictates how much the price of the electricity is, no matter what the production cost is. So this is the kind of challenges that we need to resolve. We cannot sell and continue to sell to consumers a product that is not priced properly. We cannot also lie to the consumers and selling them a product that is not, the price is fixed in advance, where the government is supposed to subsidize when the government cannot subsidize. Because at some point, the service is going to be lacking. So this is where we are. I'm a pro-private sector, so I wish, I want to send even a message to the government that I think that the electricity companies should be privatized. And because this is a way to, maybe not 100%, but the capital of the national company should be open so that we bring investors and we bring more efficiency and all that goes with private management.
Well, this is why the meeting of the minds we have here is important and crucial. I understand that there are draft laws being put in place, the framework is still being fine-tuned to make sure to bring out that. And it's very important that you mentioned that problem, that challenge in the energy sector, which I think it's very common across the continent. Because in Nigeria, we also have the same, talking about getting that right price for energy. But beyond energy and beyond this conference, is the challenge of getting projects that are bankable to the stage of getting projects to the stage of bankability, and how this can be also bankrolled in terms of financing. And where do you see the financing challenge in this whole mix?
I mean, there's huge challenges because we have all these international institutions like the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation. All these companies are very interested to develop projects here. The challenge is on the pricing of margins and the business plans of this project, the feasibility. If you have a project, and again, I don't want to talk about subsidies again, but subsidies are a problem for financed projects because you depend, again, you do a PPP, but you still depend on the government to inject money to cover the minimum cost before you sell a product to a consumer. So the price is not real on these products. So this is where we need to pay attention. I really welcome the creation of this ministry because this ministry did not exist before in Congo. And now with what the ministry is doing is excellent because they're actually looking at not only the opportunities, but at the ways to actually allow these opportunities to actually be realized. Because we can dream about, we know we need water, we know we need electricity, it's there, but how do you produce it? How do you sell it? You need finance, you need investments to be able to actually become a reality. And if the rules are not implemented also, because we do have beautiful laws that we don't implement. So this is also something that needs to be, we need to pay attention.
So it's also the case of regulation not catching up to pace with what's developments in the industry and in the space of time.
I think so. You look at, again, in energy sector, if you produce electricity as a private company, you have to sell that electricity to the national company, which they sell at the price they want. So you cannot negotiate the price, which is not good business. But then you look at other sectors like transportation, taxes are completely crazy. And it does not, it's better for the government to take less tax and increase the volume of business than take huge taxes and have small business.
So then you're talking about incentives because that's what you're trying to communicate to the government. What kind of incentives would you like to hear the government put in place to make you even increase the level of investment that you currently have?
I tell you, I'm from Congo. I own hotels out of Congo. Why? Because in Congo you need a visa. So nobody comes here on tourism. So you need to cancel visas. And I know it's not easy. I'm talking as a private citizen, but if I invite friends to come over to visit my country, if they are in Spain, they have to go to Paris to get a visa. You cannot promote tourism like this. So we need, we were talking with these people earlier about the price of a ticket. A plane ticket is 50% tax. It's too much. You want people to travel, you want people to spend money, decrease the taxes,
people they consume more. But then you enlarge the consumer base, which is what we want. We want more people to spend. We want more people to make money.
When you look at 2 to 5 years down the line, with this ministry in place here, talking about this forum, gaining ground and also taking things to the next level, what would you like to see in the next 5 years that will make you say this was a win? Putting this ministry in place and putting this forum in place, what's a win?
Yeah, I think definitely things will change. We are very optimistic. I think there's clearly there's room for improvement, and I think the ministry is doing an excellent job promoting the country, first of all, but also doing the work with the, mixing the different ministries involved, because you do a project in energy, you can only work with the Minister of PPP. You need the Ministry of Energy, Environment, and all these things. So all these people have to be working together, and I think the ministry is doing a good job at connecting the different departments together. So then it's up to the goodwill of our people to move things, that's all. But we are there to invest. We want to invest, and we want to invest at home especially.
Let's hear some of your plans going forward in terms of areas you're looking to invest, because at the end of the day, we're trying to see how we can drive FDI up, and also local investments also being increased.
I mean, one of the PPP that we want to do is connected to electricity. So we want to provide. We want to invest in distribution lines. We want to manufacture counters in Congo, prepaid counters, what they call the meters. We want to also invest in cabling manufacturing, because we do need better distribution lines, substations, and all this. So that's one of the sectors we want to do, but we want to collaborate directly with the national company so that we can provide that service for them, and then work together on providing better electricity, better customer service to the clients.
Congo is a nice country. They are very known with their hospitality. They are facilitating to any kind of visitor, to any kind of investor, to any kind of entrepreneur to invest in Congo. Going back directly to your questions, there's a lot of things can be done here. Starting from the agriculture, which I see big lands here to invest in, going to transport, going to mines, going to mines, agriculture, as I said, digital transformation, which is our domain. And as I said, there's a nice people. The Minister of International Cooperation is doing a big job with the Minister of the Ministry, Mr. Christelle Denis Sassou Nguesso, also for trying to encourage, as I said, investors to come and invest in Congo. And as I said, for me, I have some businesses here, and it's a very nice country to doing. It's, as they said in Dubai, it's really a land of opportunities to invest in.
Let's get now specific to your areas of interest. As you've seen the government communicate to you what they are willing to do to help smoothen that journey for would-be investors coming in here. As someone who, yes, I understand that you are in the digital economy space, and I'd like to speak to your specific areas of interest for the country.
Okay. Now we are going since like 6 or 7 months to a new project with a new model with different international investors. We are talking now like in the forum of also PPP, public-private partnership, in the domain of digital transformation for certain administration that produces documents and papers in exchange of fees, like let's say driving licenses, let's say criminal record, certain certificates, certain permits. So any kind of administration that they are having something to digitalize and dematerialize, we are going to be with them. The problem now, in some African countries, our goal is to cover like more than 8 to 12 African countries, starting from Mali, Mauritania, Congo, Chad, Niger. in the way they want to digital transform, but some governments are facing some financing problems. So we are going with our capital ventures partner to invest in such kind of things. Like we invest in this digital transformation of a certain administration, of course with a certain accord or a certain partnership, to bring back our money through this investment, as I told you, in such kind of digital transformation projects. The second thing is we are attacking also a platform of bidding and digital payment in the African countries that there's no access to the international digital payment like Visa cards, MasterCards. I'm not doing marketing for those things. With the partnership of the local telecom operators like, let's say, MTN, that is offering MTN, Airtel, and those kind of things that are offering mobile payments. So we are like stopping the payment in cash to maybe to eliminate corruption, enhance the turnover of the government, but such kind of things.
I'm trying to look down the years now. Let's move the clock a bit forward now. You're already in Congo. All your business ideas have come to life, and your business are up and running. What sort of impact do you think, or which areas do you think the impact of your business here will be most felt? Is it in the area of job creation or efficiency in government institutions and ministries, or jobs, or even wealth creation?
Look, I want to say something. The government here is facilitating to a lot, or let me be precising. You want an answer for here, as I'm an operator here. Let me say there's more than 5 or 6 sectors you can invest in Congo, and you will find all the hospitality and all the facilitation to do that. As I told you, Congo president launched a national plan from 222 to 226. It's covering a lot of sectors, and according to this 7 or 8 sector, they are giving a lot of facilities. And I will repeat one more time. Those facilities are in the tourism, agriculture. For me, the big opportunity, but I am not into it, is in agriculture.
And there you have it, the first edition of the PPP Forum, already gathering momentum, with conversations here already shaping investment interest in what I believe will be interesting times for the government of the Republic of Congo and the private sector players operating here. I'm Kenneth Igbomo, and I'll leave you with some parting words from some of the participants here at the forum. Thank you so much for watching.
Well, first of all, I think the forum has been very well organized. It's definitely something that the country needs, especially all the different private actors in the economy of Congo. One thing that they highlighted as much is how the environment is and how it can be improved, especially from a legal perspective, and all the different advantages that can be made so that the private sector can benefit from the participation of the government. So I think this is the impact that it's going to have on the government as well as the private economy, which is essentially proving that Congo can move forward and become a developing country very soon.
Look, it's interesting to see the opportunities that Congo Brazzaville has got to offer. I mean, I'm the co-founder of B-Box. We've been operating across the river in the Republic Democratic of Congo. So it's good to come on the other side, see what's the potential. It's great to see this public-private partnership ministry being set up to help coordinate certain strategic projects in the country.
The forum is a perfect place to be today because of this is the innovation for the Congo, and the PPP is something I think more interesting for private partners. So here in Congo, I am investors, the CEO of CR Multiservice. I am investing in businesses in Congo. So my position is very peace and happy to be here today and to represent the partnership with private and public partnerships. So